Hello, and welcome to Be Here Now, the Peaceful Empowerment Works show, where presence invites perspective and allows peace. We are live on the newstreamingnetwork.com, home of goingboldmedia.com, goingsolomedia.com, and WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio. I am your co-host, Judy Forder, and I am here with my co-host in peace, Miss
Janice Leonard. Hey, hi everybody. Hi Judy. How you doing?
Well, if you enjoy our content, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I forgot that part.
So glad to have everybody here. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Judy and I like to be here, share our stories and how we become more at peace, more filled with love and unconditional acceptance. And we hope to share that with you. Glad to have you here. We do this because we love it. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And if you go to our website, www.peacefulempowermentworks.org, you can even make a tax-deductible donation. Yay! So just click on the donate button at the top or the bottom of the screen.
Outstanding. Yes, and our topic for today is breaking free from self-doubt. That's topic, man. Woo! We're going to dig on into that. But before we get started, Janice, will you ring us in?
I will.
Everybody take a deep breath. Whew. Excellent.
This is a 528 hertz, which is a DNA healing vibration. So not only are we emotionally getting grounded, I'm hoping it's going to help my arm. I get arm pain, by the way. If you see me make a face, don't take it personally. Or if I go like this, I'm just trying to find a comfortable position.
If she mutes, it's because she's screaming in pain.
No problem.
No problem. Nothing to see here. All right. So you've been dealing with some pretty excruciating pain, but you still were able to find us a good news story for this week.
I was. This story, I'm going to pull up my copy. Give me a second. It's about a kid with cancer. And he met with this, you're going to see it. We're going to pull it up, but I'm trying to give those of you who can't see an idea. Is he met with this, I don't know, was it soccer? Niemer. Yeah. And he has this dance, and he asked Niemer if they could do the dance when they made a score, when they made a goal. So here, let's go. He's showing him. And there's the score. Woohoo! And there it is. The whole team, after they made the score, is doing his special dance. Thank you. you just, I don't know. I had a lot of people die of cancer in my life, so I tend to think if I had cancer, which of course I imagine I have cancer all the time. I don't know if all of you do, but oh no, it's cancer. I trained my doctor. I said, I am just a little paranoid about cancer. So, okay. Anyways, so here's this boy, cute little boy, bald head. And, just he's gone through his chemotherapy, get cancer, and he sits down with the soccer. I mean, that must be European soccer, right? Football. And it's I got it from Facebook. It's Workforce Whisperer. And he told this, he met one of the guys and said, "Would you do my dance?" He made a score, and then the whole team made a score, and they did his dance. That is cool. It's hard to, when you feel like you can get lost, can you imagine, when you're in pain, it's all about you, let's face it. Right. And, you've got, you're in this little world and someone just reaches in and touches you and then does it on TV in front of the world. That's pretty special.
Yes, him and 5 others. That was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So the whole team learned it. So not only did he learn it, then he went back and he taught the rest of the team the dance so they could all do it.
So cool. So cool. And, it is interesting because you have been in a lot of pain since last Friday. And I think it's great that you had the awareness that when that pain hits, it definitely throws you into survival mode. Because the only thing you can think about is you and that pain and how the hell you can get out of it. Yeah. Yeah. So
I was surprised I got a call from school, the call from school about your child. And I ended up having to go pick her up. And I get into the school and all of a sudden I got that cramp. And I was like, they're talking. I'm like, I don't care right now. Yeah. Fortunately, one of the things she's worried about was my arm, my pain. So they knew that I had something. So they gave me grace. Just like, I hope you'll give me grace if I do that too.
Of course. We always give grace.
That's right.
All right. Let's move on to your weekly affirmation. What do you have for us this week?
Oh, this week. I was inspired by this one later in the week because I was in some pain and I wasn't thinking about it until yesterday when I was starting to feel a little bit better. So if Cece can put it up, I'll be able to read it. Not that I don't have it all memorized. Oh, we're beyond that one. There you go. Another one. Another one.
Yep. Here we go.
One more. Not one more. There you go. This, it's funny because when you're in crisis, maybe you're in pain or you're in a crisis, it gets back to the basics again, just survival. And it reminded me of going back. I will not let the bad shape me. I will not let the hurt mold me. I will not let the heartbreak break me. I won't be a victim. I am a victor who conquers everything meant to take me down. Oh, wait a minute. Hey. I found a time to do that noise.
Yes. Yeah. I will not let the hurt mold me. These are big. These are big. And it's funny, Janice, I'm hearing that you need to speak these words into your muscle.
I will not. Okay.
Breathe.
I was talking to a friend of mine last week, and I don't have pain like this very often. And I certainly don't let myself be seen when I have pain like this. I usually just stay home. But I was out last weekend, and my friend said, "Oh, yeah, I know my back last year." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, people get those. That must be excruciating." Can you imagine having that? Wow.
Yeah. And then, you think about people that live with chronic pain.
Oh, my gosh.
My brother
I'm so lucky.
This disorder in his neck and his lower back, and that constant pain. You know how exhausted you are from dealing with it. You're not sleeping well. Yeah. And to live with that constant state of that, that takes a toll on you on every.
And, again, it's unfortunately, it's all human, but, when we don't deal with it every day, we don't really understand. No. We don't. But just this little slice of pain, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like so sympathetic, empathetic, whatever, for the people who have these chronic pains.
Yes. Yes. Now, dare I mention the fact that you were told to start PT back before Christmas so you could strengthen those muscles?
I did. You can. I have a shoulder. I have to have a shoulder replacement. It's been bad for a while. But I finally, now that I'm trying to take care of myself better, thought maybe I should get this taken care of. But it only hurts me sometimes. So but I went and we were going to put it off. And when I went to see him, he says, "Well, we decided we'd put it off because it's a full replacement, and I still have some range of motion." And so what you should do is you should get some PT because just at least build up some muscles. You can't do anything about the
Ligaments.
missing ligaments or anything, broken ligaments, but you can do that. Oh yeah, I meant to, but it was around Christmas, so I put it off, and I have not done it yet.
Don't pay
And when I
attention.
went to,
Our bodies will
yeah,
scream.
so when I could not bear the pain and went to the doctors on Monday, I still thought, oh, it's just my shoulder. Of course, I'm telling her it's my shoulder,
Right.
but she checked it out, and it actually was muscles that start in the back, up through the shoulder, down the arm.
Uh-huh.
And she says, well, it's a combination of things. I'm thinking, oh, so she says I should go to PT. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm going to go to PT.
Hey, folks, the appointments are made.
Yes, they are now.
Pain is a motivator.
Oh my God.
Physical and
Yes.
emotional pain, both motivators. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. And we always say experiences keep showing up to teach us the lessons that we need to be taught.
Yeah. And I can be pretty stubborn sometimes. My way of dealing with things is just shut it out. Right.
Mhm. Yep.
So it can work well, but when you ignore it long enough, you can't ignore it anymore. But
No.
how far are you going to go before you pay attention, right?
Yep. It's like each experience for me with the lessons that I don't need to deal with that now. It gets louder and louder and more painful until I'm finally like, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
That's the way it used to be. Now I'm immediately like, okay, let's go within. What's going on? What do I need to do? I don't like the pain. I don't like the pain.
No.
I will learn the lesson with ease and grace, not under fire anymore.
Oh, I still get to the point where it's terrible, but I thought of it anyways.
Yes.
I was aware of it.
And that's what's important. Awareness is key.
Yeah. That's step one. I'm getting good at that.
All right, let's scoot on over to our pearls of wisdom for the week. And it kind of aligns perfectly with what Janice has been experiencing. Love yourself first. Oh, sorry. Love yourself first, because that's who you'll be spending the rest of your life with. Love yourself first, because that's who you'll be spending the rest of your life with. Your pain has alerted you to the fact that you were putting something important off.
Yep.
Yeah.
That reminds me of two of my granddaughter, who's definitely struggles with all the things that children of trauma struggle with. And I finally like made a shift in my mind. Instead of trying to take care of it, make it go away, fix it, is, you're 16 now. You need to take responsibility for loving yourself and taking care of yourself. It's like, what am I saying? Who is that person that's saying this? But it's so important, and it's cool because it's so much entrenched now in me that I'm seeing it like in my primary relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool because you don't take care of yourself, you don't love yourself. Mm-hmm. The quality of relationships, the quality of life. I see how it affects my qualities, my quality of life and my relationships when I see that I am doubting myself and not loving myself.
Yeah. And I feel like, we're doing the best thing we can for our kids. And that's being the living example for them of what it looks like to learn to love yourself, because Lord knows we're still in process.
Yeah.
We're still getting it down, but they're able to watch us because they watch everything. They watch everything. And, our kids being able to watch us go through this growth and evolution and really learn to put ourselves first gives them permission to do the same. Because we were taught that's selfish. Mm. We're sending a different message to our children. It's not selfish to take care of you first. That way you can
interesting
for others.
My adult daughter is like, oh, I hope I've made you proud of me. She said that a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And I got it. She just wants to make sure that I'm proud of her and, what she's done. Because, like, let's say my path and my journey, I was fortunate that I grew up that it was kind of assumed I'd go to college right after, and it had certain path I'd follow, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not the path my children followed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'd be hard to grow up if you had to educate. Let's just say that's true. I'm not saying
Right.
it is, but if you're growing up, your parents educated, and then I went and got my master's, and so she grew up with me being in that track, and she grows up, and it's just not her thing.
Mm-hmm.
Going to school and learning and books, it's not her thing, and it was always very important to me. So I would see how she might be unconfident. But anyways, it's a whole new level yesterday when I was talking to her. I was like, I don't. It really. I said to her, I think it's irrelevant though if I'm proud of you, because that's not really what I want for you. That's from you or for you. It's not about reaching a certain esteem level, or I mean a level in in a job or you know education. It's not about that. That's not what I want. I just want you to be happy and at peace and love yourself.
And what
She
did
said,
you tell? Your
huh?
response? Your response was beautiful because you said, and maybe you don't remember the wording, but it hit me. You said to her, "I'm not proud of you for what you do. I'm proud of you for who you are."
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Yeah. So that's a huge shift. That's one of those.
Mm-hmm.
It's a special word for that I can't think of. And I always wanted to do. I had, I was proud of what I did. Like I did get the education. I did get this. I did. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought as long as I was doing these things, I
Mm-hmm.
was successful and I had
Exactly.
a good life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is all part of my learning,
Yep.
especially now that I don't have a career job,
Mm-hmm.
that it's not about that. What a thing when I started working with Judy to hear, "Oh, it's not what you do. It's you. You're giving a gift.
Mm-hmm.
What a concept. And to be able to give that gift to teach your kids or anybody
Anybody. Yep.
that's what it's about. I mean, it's about loving yourself and being at peace and love. That's
Mhm.
great. I wish, we could give that gift to people.
Yeah. And
Mm,
the thing is the world we grew up in, that's being a rebel. That's going against the grain because your worth is always based in what you do,
that's right. That's
so
right.
this complete shift. It's a mind rewire. And this is where, the topic for today is perfect with, breaking free from self-doubt. It's we were brought up a certain way and things needed to look good and fake it till you make it, put a smile on your face, blah, blah, all these things where it wasn't about really, are you okay with you? Everything out
Yeah.
there, was reinforcing that we weren't enough. We're not pretty enough. We're not thin enough. We're not athletic enough. We're not anything enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the concept of loving yourself first is foreign. It's like a pipe dream.
It is.
These are concepts that that more and more people are grabbing hold of because quality of life is becoming much more important to people.
Yeah.
Material things are less important, and it's the quality of life and the quality of your relationships
Mm.
that are
And
starting to be important.
and I don't know if it's part of getting older, but now it's who cares like how much money, honestly.
Right.
You don't impress me if you've got lots of money, if you've got a big education, if you've got, you know, TikTok shows or TV shows. Honestly,
Yeah, I
it's
do.
cool. That doesn't.
I feel it's part of us being older, and I feel like there's been a collective shift. There's been a collective shift, and people are tired of the fake.
Yeah.
Everybody can you paste on your social media face and use all the filters and do all that kind of stuff. So nobody really knows the true you. Do you really know the true you? And
Yeah.
there's this shift to authenticity, being your true self and blah and all that kind of stuff. Well, it ain't pretty, folks. The spiritual
Mm.
work, it's not pretty work. It's not all light, love, butterflies, and angel wings. It's getting into the nitty gritty that we've put on the back shelf or we haven't allowed ourselves to see. It's going face to face with those shadow parts of you that you don't love. Looking at yourself in the mirror And that's why,
Yeah.
Janice shares her affirmations. Look at yourself in the mirror and declare, you are important enough to do this work. And it's funny because I think about when, I was introduced to healthy boundaries and making boundaries and all that. And I can remember I set those boundaries in barbed wire. It was a lot of declarations of what I will not do this. I will not do that. I will not have this in my life. I will not have that in my life. And it wasn't so much about informing the other people. It was about making that declaration to me, because it was easier for me to see what I didn't want instead of what I did want, because I didn't know. It's like I had to clear that space and set those barbed wire boundaries for me to keep that. And then once those were set, I had that space where I could start thinking about, okay, what do I want in my life? What are my affirmations going to bring to me instead of what am I pushing away? So it's all part of the process. It's all part of the journey.
Oh, that's so nice. I know when I started setting up boundaries, I don't know if they were quite barbed wire, but they were close. But I ended up like being so dramatic and loud about it. I am not going to take that. It's so that's how I was doing it, and I didn't last long because that really wasn't me to be like that.
Right. It didn't feel right.
No, but I was testing it out. But you kind of go to extremes, So every once in a while, when I see someone acting like, well, that's not. Well, I think, oh, I wonder if they're learning to set some boundaries there.
Exactly. That feels very familiar to me.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I think right now it's probably a good place for us to take a break. We'll cut for a commercial break. On the advice of Cece, we are a nonprofit organization, so Peaceful Empowerment Works would love to have your donations and your support. Reach out to, you can find us at our website, peacefulempowermentworks.org. And Janice and I will be right back with Pathways to Peace.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
And welcome back to Be Here Now, the Peaceful Empowerment Works show, where presence invites perspective and allows peace. Today's topic, breaking free from self-doubt.
Oh, no, I know the perfect thing right now, okay? New toy.
I love that.
I think it's called a wah-wah, because you can make it go wow, wow. Yeah.
It reminds me of the wah-wah pedal on a guitar, or is it the handle? Wow, wow. There's a wah-wah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So let's dive into self-doubt. Not that you and I ever experienced this.
Oh, never.
Never. You know me. I like to go to self-doubt is characterized by feelings of uncertainty regarding one or more aspects of yourself. As for example, you might experience imposter syndrome when applying for a new job, or you might avoid trying something new because you feel like you're incapable of succeeding. Janice, have you ever experienced those feelings?
No, totally. This is totally makes me think about, I had, let's say I superficially was successful at jobs when I started out for the first few decades. And I believe that I could get almost any job I wanted because I was able to go in an interview and be the person I thought that they'd like. And it's a problem because then, you end up, it's about probably trying to be perfect. And, so it wasn't like I was doing it in any kind of mean way. It's just that I was trying to be perfect,
Right.
And then you get in the job, you continue trying to be perfect. And you know what that does to your psyche and everything? I like that imposter syndrome because
Mhm.
I never let myself not be perfect. Because then if I
Mhm.
was imperfect, oh my gosh, you thought the world was falling in on me.
Mhm. The
And it's
self-doubt.
funny
Mhm.
'cause I've applied for jobs in the last 10 years and I haven't gotten them all. I don't know. I've hardly gotten any. It's like, what's with that? It's funny. At first, it's like, oh, I'm old. People don't want me. Your own
Mhm.
little insecurities. Older.
Mhm.
I'm not old. And but it could be that I'm just being myself and I'm not trying to push the agenda.
Mhm.
It just dawned on me that when I saw this imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I can remember. I mean, when we were told in college, when you go for a job interview, and I was a phys ed teacher in a prior life. Haha. um, I was told if they ask you whatever sport it is, can you coach it? If you've never played it and don't even know what it is, you say yes. You fake it till you make it. So they encourage that imposter syndrome just so you could get a foot in the door and get a job.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can be taught, but I always struggled with that.
Yeah. Well, because you weren't
I
being your true self.
yeah, and back then I didn't know anything about being true self or anything like that, but I was very forthcoming about what it was I was comfortable coaching, and whatever else came along, I could certainly learn.
Yeah. It's too bad though, even like when you're in a traditional business,
Mhm.
you really the things that we talk about generally
Mhm.
don't succeed.
What do you mean?
You have to be the alpha, you have to be
Oh,
tough and I pretended to be that.
yeah.
Or I tried to. And I remember I worked in male dominated businesses for quite a few years and you certainly didn't show any weakness. You
Mm-mm.
certainly didn't say sorry. And I had to play the part
Mhm.
until I realized maybe I need to work in a different kind of business, and that's when I focused on human services.
Uh-huh.
But, it was like that some places there too, it's
Yeah, and that's pe everyone. Everybody has been influenced by society telling you, guiding you that you need to be one way or another and you're not enough. You know, Self-doubt is something that I can remember being a pretty confident kid until I was told I was overweight and had to go on a diet. That told me I was broken. There was something wrong with me. And then from that point forward, I compared myself to everybody. I would scan a room to see if I was the biggest one in it as soon as I walked in, and that would control everything.
yeah.
It would
Well,
control
heck
how much I ate in public
oh,
because, the fat girl can't sit there and eat. That's so no wonder she's
yeah,
so fat. So it's all
exactly.
all of it, and then the next thing I can remember, the huge self-doubt setting in was college when I realized I was gay. Was like, oh, well, this is not acceptable in the world. So you
Mm,
put on another mask and you go out there and you be what everybody expects you to be. And and then the next big one was motherhood. Oh my God. You think you got self-doubt and it's nothing. And that little baby was put in my hands and I was like, what the hell? How did I think I was qualified to do this? Where's the instruction manual?
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, Tammy and
Yeah,
I used to joke that Maddie didn't have a college fund. She had a therapy fund because we knew for sure she was going to need therapy in her life more than college.
oh my gosh, and you make it somehow, and then as you get older, you find more peace and you can manage it, and
Yeah.
acceptance, self-love. I guess that's
Yeah.
all what that process is about, huh?
Well, and one of the biggest things you mentioned earlier is that need to be perfect. We become our own worst enemy when we expect perfection out of ourselves
Mm,
because it limits how much we can grow and experience. Because if I couldn't be perfect at it, then I wasn't going to try it. Because if
yeah.
you don't try, then you don't fail. Well, Yeah, you do. You're failing yourself because you're not giving yourself the opportunity to experience new things unless it's a sure thing.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, I think I've shared
Th-
this before. My dad said to me the only thing he ever worried about with me was I would never do anything unless I knew that I could be somewhat successful at it. He's like, you do a lot of watching, and I don't want that to limit what you experience in your life.
wow. That was pretty oh, enlightened of him, huh?
It was, and that was a while ago. So,
Oh.
yeah.
I mean, just not even long ago, as I stopped my regular job and I was looking for a job, and I went into bookkeeping, which, I'm more creative side. Not that I act it, but than I am like, I like putting things together, but not implementing them. That kind
Mhm,
of thing. And so I started this bookkeeping job, and I had a hard time. I wasn't perfect,
mhm,
and not being perfect, it was so hard. And I had the person I was working under
mhm.
would always tell, "Oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do this, you didn't do that," and forget it. It's like pro- I ended up leaving, just saying I'm not good enough for this job.
Right.
I can't do it, and I'm doing a similar job now, and it's okay. And what's the difference? The difference is, for one thing, I don't think I have to be perfect.
You set yourself
I, you
free.
know, yeah,
Mhm,
it's so weird. I'm doing it, and of course, the person I work with isn't like, you do this wrong. And I learned I cannot have a person who's looking over my shoulder and calling every single thing I do wrong.
mhm.
I need someone a little more easygoing.
Right.
But I mean, at the time when I left that job, I knew that I was no good. I
Mm,
can't do this. I'm too old now. I had head injury years back, so I can't focus on things now. And I was sure I
mhm.
couldn't do the job.
Yeah.
Here I am doing the same job for the same industry.
Uh-huh. And the big difference
But
is you released yourself, you set yourself free from the perfection prison, is what I just heard. The
yeah,
prison of perfection. You set yourself free, and look at what that's
yeah.
opened up for.
Isn't that interesting?
Mhm.
It's still not really my match of things to do. You
Mm.
know, It's not, but
No.
I like working for nonprofits. That's the part, is just helping out, because I always found nonprofits I did well when I worked in nonprofits, because they tended to be too idea centered and not implementation centered, and I was good at the implementation part. Or
Mhm.
they were yeah, I guess that's a good way to summarize it. So I was good at going in, and I could take these ideas and make it work, and okay, what do we need to do? And I loved that.
Mhm.
Which isn't bookkeeping, but but so I'm not gonna be perfect at it.
Oh my
I'm not gonna be
goodness,
perfect.
that's you came out. Woohoo! You're not gonna be perfect at it. And if
Oh my
somebody
gosh.
tells you you've made a mistake, you're not gonna take it personally.
Oh, my work, I'm not taking it personally. I'm much
Yeah,
better at not taking it personally. How's that?
perfect. See? Much better. And
Yeah.
that's what I was telling Janice. I was like, you know, I have an experience breaking free from self-doubt. What I have been able to do is get to the point where it doesn't stop me from doing something. It may bring a pause where I'm going to be like, okay, is that true? And if the answer is yes, then we dig a little deeper. But it doesn't prevent me from trying new things. It doesn't prevent me from showing up and being myself. It
Mm,
requires me to remind myself that we're going about life in a new way, but it doesn't stop me. So the whole breaking free, my idea of breaking free is, the handcuffs and the chains are gone. I haven't mastered zero self doubt. Not yet, but
well, then you'd be perfect. Then you can't be perfect.
it would depend on whose idea of perfect.
That's right.
Cece, if you could bring
Hmm.
up the slide with the intuitive message. This is actually from a couple shows ago. I mean, it was a couple months ago, but I kept hearing that I had to use this slide today because it's a great reminder for people. Keep going. And of course, that show, it was my whole joke of, this is my intuitive message for you. Give me one more. There we go.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You-
That's good.
All right. So this was an intuitive message I got a while back, but it completely fits the show that we're talking about today. And we've talked about perfectionism how many times? Perfection is an illusion created in judgment with the intent to separate and divide. This causes both external conflict as well as internal. Perfection creates comparison, which on one hand can invite feelings of superiority and elitism, while on the other hand, self-doubt and poor self-esteem. We are here to remind you, Janice and I are here to remind you today, that you are absolutely perfect just as you are in this moment. The human experience is about growth and evolution. It's about learning to love yourself and allowing yourself to love and be loved by others. So we challenge you to stop comparing yourself to the perfect standards projected amongst the masses by society and tradition, and instead ask yourself the question, what is right and perfect for you? Love is the common thread that sews us all together as a collective. Our experiences vary based on the lessons we come to learn, and whether we choose to learn those lessons under fire or with ease and grace. When you have the awareness to pause, breathe, and look to see the lesson, ease and grace can be your path of choice. You are absolutely perfect just the way you are.
I love the thing that helps me is it's just saying, I am perfectly me. If I need to be perfect.
I am perfectly me. No need to be perfect. I love that. I absolutely love that. So, Cece, if you go to the next slide for us. So what we're going to challenge you to do is give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to look for the lesson in every experience. Do your best to sit on that observation deck of no non-judgment so you can see the experience from a different perspective. When you're sitting on that observation deck, you literally feel like I have felt like I'm kind of outside myself watching. You know, everybody loves that hilarious story of me going crazy because of the fitted sheet and cutting loose on the punching bag and all that. I was watching all of that as it unfolded, and I was able to, laugh at myself, and be like, okay, she had a lot of anger and rage she needed to release, and we're all right. This is good. When you can sit in non-judgment, it takes that little voice of self-doubt. And it's funny because I can see it. It's like a little me sitting next to me. Like, look, it's okay. We don't need to judge you. You're feeling and you're experiencing whatever it is that comes up. And when we look for the lesson, it takes the power out of the emotion. So when finding the lesson in your goal, when finding the lesson is your goal, self-doubt loses its power because we start to see every experience as an opportunity for growth and evolution, as opposed to another opportunity to beat ourselves up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're also asking you to give yourselves permission to eliminate the word failure from your vocabulary. Allow yourself to explore and experiment. When you give yourself room to try new things in the energy of exploring and experimenting, there's no succeeding or failing. There's only discovering what works for you and what doesn't. This is how you figure out what is right and perfect for you. So I am perfectly, what was your affirmation?
I am perfectly me. And I'm
I am
don't ask me
perfect.
to remember things today.
Yeah, I am perfectly me, and yeah, something about imperfection. We'll have to rewind the show and watch it. Because it was a
For those of you who'd like to, for those of you who are dying to know what I just said, press rewind.
Because it was a golden nugget. It was a good one. I am perfectly me in my imperfection. That's what it was. I am perfectly me in my imperfection.
You don't need to rewind anymore.
I got it. So,
Oh.
Janice, we've been working with these concepts, with these lines of thought for a while now. Explore and experiment has been something that, we've been chewing on for probably over a year. So when you were introducing that into your new way of being, what was the biggest resistance you felt?
It's my fear of failure.
Uh-huh. Dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was mine as well. And I know I've said this on the show before. Ed Sheeran has a song, Supermarket Flowers, about his mom. And there's a line in that song that says something along the lines of, how am I not going to be a failure? Like, without her here to help guide. And when I heard that line, it would always make me cry. Always make me cry. It doesn't make me cry anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am
It does.
perfectly me with all my imperfections. Thank you, CC.
So yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like wrapping this up, we're just going to simply say it's not about never experiencing self-doubt again in your lifetime. At least this is where Janice and I are. It's about not allowing it to have power over you.
Hmm.
And,
And not letting it stop you from growing and trying something.
exactly.
I tend to not do things. Yep.
Mhm. Yeah. So give yourself permission to look for the lesson, explore and experiment. There is no more failure. It's just figuring out what works for you and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And remember, when you're figuring out what works for you and what doesn't, you don't have to explain it to anybody. You can simply say, I found that doesn't work for me. Can we try it a different way?
It's so freeing.
Mm-hmm. It really, really is. Recovering people pleasers. This is a life-changing concept because you turn yourself inside out to make people happy. And this is about you saying, that doesn't work for me. Can we try it a different way? Very empowering.
Yep.
Definite life changer. So that's all we have time for today. We want to thank everybody for choosing to be here now with us. Please always remember,
You are not alone.
and don't ever forget that you're awesome. Thank you, Janice.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Judy. Have a great
Thank you.
day.